Okay. I actually have no idea if anybody's watching this. So I'm going to just give this little speech, and I'll probably repeat it several times as we're going along. So if you're out there and you're hearing this multiple times, I apologize in advance. My name is Alan McFeeters. I'm the chair of the Island County Republican Party. Get a little feedback. There we go. All right. And I just see if this is, oh, good. We're live. Okay. So it is 10:01 on Saturday, December the 5th, and we're working on credentialing for our 2020 organizational meeting. We have 32 precinct committee officers, and we're pushing them through a series of breakout rooms so that we verify who they are, make sure their audio works, make sure that they're able to connect to our quick vote application so that they're able to vote in the secret ballot votes for officer elections. And we're just a little bit behind. Right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in our pre-credentialing room. And we're going to be moving those people through as quickly as we can. But all that's to say that we are a little bit delayed, and we'll start as soon as we have everybody through credentialing. So hang tight. You'll probably see some people coming in and out of this room, and I'll be moving them into the pre-credentials room. I apologize for the delay, but if you're joining us, then I hope that you find this of interest, use, something, but thank you for joining us. Okay, so move him into there. Got a precinct committee officer who can't find his Zoom link, so I'm going to get him set up. Okay, here. So if this is really just a bunch of me mumbling to myself, I know that's not very compelling watching, but at least you're not just sitting in silence. So this is what I'm looking for. Copy, and back to email. Okay, and here is your link. Okay, so once again, my name is Alan McFeeters. I'm the outgoing chairman of the Island County Republican Party. You have tuned into the Island County Republican Party Organization Meeting for the 2021 to 22 term. We are in the middle of credentialing, so we're moving people through that as quickly as we can. We aren't going to start the meeting until we get everybody through credentialing. Please be patient with us, and we will start the meeting as quickly as we can. Right now, I'm moving person number 23 out of 29 into the credentialing room. I've got somebody joining, waiting in the waiting room right now that I'm going to admit. There are 32 precinct committee officers and 1 guest. Yes, that's right. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are. Number 23 is in credentialing. Number 24 through 29 are in our pre-credentialing room. So let me see who we have here in the waiting room. Hi, this is Alan.
So I'm renaming you to just that.
Hello. Okay, well, we'll find out who that is soon enough. So I wonder if I can share this screen, just this little piece here. Okay. This is our series of breakout rooms. You can see I've got this person in unassigned. They're the person we're bringing into this room. Oh, actually share this screen. There we go. So this is the person who's joining us. We've got these people in pre-credentialing. Looks like Justin Nichols is done in credentialing, so I'm going to move him to post-credentialing and move Christina Wenzik into credentialing. And this is the list of people we still need to go through. And I've got someone in the waiting room. Someone on the phone, not sure who. And then I think we probably have 2 or 3 more people who will still need to join the meeting. So once again, this is the Island Canada Republican Party Organization Meeting for the 2021 to 22 term. My name is Alan McFeeters, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we are in a little bit of delay because of credentialing. I wanted to start the live stream on time because I know people are interested in that. So bear with us and we'll start the meeting. All right, so I have somebody on the phone.
So we're in the Knoxville area. Todd Perrick.
Todd Perrick. Okay, let me read you. Okay, so you are number 30, Todd.
Thank you.
Okay, and all right, so now I'm going to move you into the pre-credentialing room, and we'll get you through the process as soon as we can.
Perfect.
Okay, so assign to pre-credentialing. Okay, so this is the first time that we've done a live stream on YouTube, and I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if anybody can see this at all, but hopefully you're seeing this, and if you find this interesting, then I guess more power to you. Okay, just go through some email here, make sure I don't have anybody else reaching out to me to try to get into the meeting. Okay, I have a candidate for chair who is asking me to be in contact with them, and so I'm just going to send them an email. And if you guys, whoever might be watching this, just hold tight. We will start this meeting as soon as we get everybody through the credentialing process. We got someone in the waiting room, so we're going to go ahead and admit them. Alex Bennett, let me unmute you. Or if you can unmute yourself, that would be great.
Unmute. Yes, Alan, what's going on?
So did you drop from the meeting or what happened there?
Not quite sure, but it was only for about a minute.
Okay, so that's fine. I can hear you, and I'm sure that Sandy already handled your quick vote.
Yes.
The quick vote.
Not my, she just certified me. She didn't do a quick vote.
Were you able to connect to quick vote?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and rather than send you back through credentials, I'm just going to move you directly into the post-credentialing room where I think you were before.
Yeah, I was there before, but as I was telling Tim, like, because I thought this meeting started at 9, I'm like, hey guys, I might, because I'm at work and I might need, my headphones have already been running for over an hour and I don't know how long they're going to last.
I'm sorry, Alex. Yeah, the trouble with a meeting like this is that we have to do all this pre-credentialing and then the gavel is supposed to drop at 10. We're a little bit behind. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. But we'll get back into this as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I don't want to lose my spot here, but you know, like that's what I'm worried about. And I wish more people had been like me last night and made sure it was all taken care of, done the right preparation work.
Yeah,
and been,
unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. So,
I guess not everybody was in the Navy or Army or Marine Corps or what have you.
No, certainly I wasn't, and I know a fair number of our people weren't. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and put you back into the post-credentialing room then. I've got 3 people in pre-credentialing, 1 in credentialing right now. I expect 1 or 2 more precinct committee officers to show up. So we're going to try to get this thing rolling as quickly as we can.
Thanks, Alan.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right, so back to the live stream. That's kind of the nature of the beast, really. It's a little bit like herding cats, as they say. But so we're, as you can see on my breakout rooms progress, we've got 3 more people in pre-credentialing, 1 in credentialing right now that I can actually move on. Post-credentialing, move Kathy Cunningham to credentialing. Unfortunately, it looks like we're having some issues with people going in and out of the meeting, which I'm hoping we can resolve quickly. But we're doing the best that we can here. So hang tight and we'll start this as quickly as we can. All right, Shannon, I'm going to have you unmute. It looks like, did you drop from the meeting or?
Yeah, our phone overheated.
Oh no.
So, yes, yeah, so cooling down as we speak. I don't know where my face went. I just have to reset it.
Okay, well, so you had already been through credentialing. You were in the post-credentialing room. So rather than send you back to credentialing, I'm just going to renumber you here. You're precinct 353 and send you directly to post-credentialing. And we will get this thing started as soon as we get everybody through the process.
I'm going to set it up so just hold it right on there. I'll get it away from the heat.
There you go.
Yes. Join.
And just so you know, we're live streaming. Oh, she's gone. I need to warn everybody that we're live streaming. Some people may not be aware that they're on YouTube as well as in this meeting. So once again, for those of you who might be just joining us, my name is Alan McFeeters. I'm the chairman of the Island County Republican Party, the outgoing chair of the Island County Republican Party. You are connected to our live stream for our 2021 to 22 organizational meeting. This is the meeting at which we elect the new set of officers for the term. Precinct committee officers file for office just like any other candidate for public office in May. They're elected in August. You may not have seen any precinct committee officers on your ballot if you voted in the primary, because if only one person files to be a Republican precinct committee officer in a precinct, they're automatically elected. They don't even bother putting them on the ballot. So we had a handful of contested elections this year. So you may have voted for a precinct committee officer, but if not, you may have a PCO automatically. There are 48 precincts in Island County. We have 32 precinct committee officers who are elected. There are some precincts where nobody filed. If you are interested in becoming a precinct committee officer, then I would recommend that you contact us at islandcountygop@gmail.com, And the new chairman will have the power to make appointments after vetting you appropriately. So what we're doing here, we're in a little bit of a hold for credentialing. We're moving people through as quickly as we can. We've got a couple more people in our pre-credentialing room, and 1 or 2 more precinct committee officers we're expecting to have show up. So we're going to move people in as quickly as we can, but for the time being, we're just waiting to get through credentialing, and hopefully that will be completed pretty soon. So hang tight, and we'll start the meeting as soon as we can. Okay, once again, my name is Alan McFeeters. I am the outgoing chair of the Island County Republican Party. Welcome to our live stream of our 2021 to 22 organizational meeting. This would be where we elect officers for the new term. We are running a little bit behind, but it looks like we're pretty close to the end of credentialing. So I'm going to pop out. This room is probably going to go dark for a minute just to check with the people in our credentialing rooms. And then we will come back and give it a minute or two for some late arriving PCOs to show up, and then we will start the meeting. So. All right, everyone. I'm going to mute everybody. And okay, so we're turning off people's ability to unmute. So if you want to be recognized, raise your hand. So let me start with this. First of all, just so you all know, we are currently live streaming on YouTube. So I don't know if anybody's actually watching, but I guess conduct yourself accordingly. Second of all, where is my PowerPoint? We'll get this thing started. I want to thank everyone for your patience. I know we're starting about 25 minutes late, which just always kills me, but given technological challenges, and we have a lot of new people, I think that we're probably about where we should have expected to be. So I appreciate everyone's patience, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Because I took the trouble to build a PowerPoint, we might as well take a look. All right. So for the record, this is the organizational meeting for the 2021 to 22 term. My name is Alan McFeeters. I am the outgoing chairman of the Island County Republican Party. I'd like to welcome everyone, those of you on the live stream and those of you here in the web conference. I really appreciate your all coming. We are currently at 29 out of the 32 precinct committee officers, which frankly is pretty good to get that high a percentage of attendance at a meeting. So thank you all for coming. A couple things to go over before we get started. So as I mentioned before, all of you are muted and will remain so until you are asked to unmute by the chair. A lot of you are new to Zoom, so I'm going to try to walk you through how this works. If you move your cursor over your Zoom screen, if you're on a computer, and I'm not entirely sure how this works on a tablet, you should have a series of meeting controls at the bottom. One of them is called participants. You want to have your participants window open because it has your meeting controls, the different ways you can interact. And I'm going to unmute Sandy Peterson if she's back. I know she had to step away for her computer. Actually, let me just unmute Seth Miller here at the top of my page. I'm going to move my Zoom window down here. And Seth, if you could, let me know, do you see my Zoom window or do you still see the PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint's in the background. So right now I'm just looking at your Zoom window.
Perfect. Sometimes you can't always share the Zoom window. The software hides its own interface, but I think I had that turned on. So down here on the bottom, now I've got a lot more controls than all of you probably do, but down here on the bottom, you should have something that looks like this. It says participants. You want to make sure that that is up because it shows you this window of all the people. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to have a different set of controls than I do, but you should have a yes and no. Actually, I think you probably have go slower and go faster. And then there should also be a raise hand. If you would like to be recognized, we ask you to raise your hand. And that's how we know that you want to be recognized. In fact, why don't we just do a little test right now? I see Dana Ledford has her hand raised, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute. Go ahead and everybody click raise hand.
Alan, I'm going to go downstairs and help Benny do this. I'll be right back up here.
Perfect. Thank you, Sandy. We've got a couple of our PCOs who are less technologically advanced, and so one of them is at Sandy's house in another room, and we're helping her out. So it looks like we've got hands raised from most of you. I don't have it from Sandy, who just walked away from her computer. Benny Weber is who she's helping out. Stina, Alex, I know Alex, you know how to do this. And then let's see, Beth Munson, your video has hand raised. That's good. Mary Jane, I don't see a hand raised for you. And Todd Perrick, gosh, I used to have that link there. I know you're audio only, and there is a command for that. Let me see if I can find that for you real quick. Raise hand in telephone. Raising your hand. Okay. Just want to make sure everybody can do all of the things we need to do so that you can all participate as fully as possible. So, attendee controls in a meeting, web, Android, iOS. Webinar, settings and controls. Nuts. Well, Todd, you're in the same room as Justin. So I'm going to, for the moment at least, rely on Justin to raise his hand on your behalf. And we'll, if we get a moment to I'll try to hunt that down. And of course, any of you who are tech savvy and have a little time to do support.zoom.us and who could find that for me, I would really appreciate it. For now, let's everybody lower your hands.
Did you see Benny's hand raised?
I don't remember.
Okay, she knows how.
Yes.
We figured it out. Okay,
I
perfect.
think we did. Okay, perfect, Sandy. Thank you. Okay. I see hands still raised from Joseph Graham, Greg Dalrymple, and Gary Ray. Go ahead and lower your hands, please. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Now that we have those little technical procedures out of the way, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. If standing, I guess, for a Zoom meeting is optional, but bow your heads and we'll say a little bit of prayer here. Father in heaven, we come to you in a prayer of thanks. Thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. We pray that you would preserve them. Thank you for the men and women in uniform who serve to protect us, the first responders and the armed forces. We pray that you would keep them safe. Thank you for the leaders that you have placed over us. We pray that you would keep them wise. And thank you for this time and these good people who come together to make our country, our state, and our county a better place. We pray that you would keep us united. All of this in accordance with your will, in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Okay. And now, cheesy little ad thing there, but let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, it would have been nice if we could have had everybody unmuted for that, but I've done that before and everybody's out of sync. It's an audio nightmare. So I trust that you're all pledging your allegiance appropriately. Okay, let's do a roll call. I'm just going to go down this list and down the participants list and just make sure we have everybody here. So, oh, actually, you know, before I do that, I want to recognize someone. We have with us today Anton Gross, who is the political director of the Washington State Republican Party. And he has graciously agreed to take time on a Saturday to help us with Quick Vote. A couple of you were in the breakout room with Anton, and I think that we got everybody able to vote, which is super important. So Anton, I really appreciate your being here, and we'll call on you as we need to over the course of the meeting. All right, now on to the roll call. I see Seth Miller. I see Gary Ray. I see Benny Weber, Ward Sparaccio. I think we renamed you a little bit differently, so you're out of order. So I'm going to just quickly come in here and fix your screen name. This is really just my own obsessive compulsiveness, so bear with me. There we go. There's Ward. Okay, so Ward Sparaccio is here. Greg Dalrymple is here. Matt Hamlin is here. Jim Adsley is here. Justin Nichols is here. Lee Redman is here. Todd Perrick is down here at the bottom of the screen. And you're named properly, so I don't know why you're not sorting properly, but you are here. Christina Wenzik is here. Mary Jane Olson is here, and she's here with audio and video, so that's good. Dan Evans is here. Dana Ledford, Alan McFeeters, of course, I'm here. Dana Ledford, Sandy Peterson is here. Alex Pfeiffer is here. Fix your name too. Okay, there we go. Get everybody sorted properly. Alex Bennett is here, and we numbered you incorrectly because I messed that up. I see Sandy kind of looking at that. No, Alex had to drop out, and I renumbered her when she came back in. So Sandy, you got that right. Okay, Gazel Campbell is here. Bill Burnett is down here. Richard McQuarrie is here. Beth Munson is here in video and separate audio. Billy Hansen is here. Anna Maria Brugman is here. Kathy Cunningham is here. David Mirasan is not here. Let me open this and we can cross him off the list. Hopefully he will show up, but so far not here. So straight through. Okay, Jennifer Short, also not here. Okay, Tim Hazlow is here. Fred Wilmot is not here. There we go. Shannon Williams is here. Steve Thompson is here. Joseph Graham is here. We have one guest today, Morgan Cooper, who is a candidate for office. And I think that covers everybody who's here. So thank you all very much. Only 3 out of 32. That's outstanding. Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce the Outgoing Executive Committee. As you know, my name is Alan McFeeters, and I am the Outgoing Chair. Mary Jane Olson is our Outgoing Vice Chair. Alex Pfeiffer is our Outgoing State Committeeman. Beth Munson is our Outgoing State Committee Woman. Dana Ledford is our Outgoing Secretary. And Ward Sparaccio is our Outgoing Treasurer. And I, just on my own behalf, would say I am deeply appreciative to all of these people who have made our success here over the past couple of years what it has been. And I really appreciate all the help they have given to the party in their term of office. And now it's time for the election of a temporary chair. So nominations are now open. This will be somebody who runs the remainder of the meeting until the point at which the new permanent chairman is elected. So nominations are open. If you would like to nominate someone to be the permanent chair of this meeting, please raise your hand. I see Sandy Peterson trying to raise her hand. So Sandy, go ahead. Unmute yourself and speak your piece.
Thank you. I can't find the hand thing, but I can find the check thing. I appreciate all of you letting me be not as techie as most of you. I rise to nominate Alan McFeeters as the temporary chairman of the 2020-2021 organization meeting of the Island County Republican Party.
Thank you, Sandy. Is there a second? I see Dana Ledford. Go ahead.
Yes, I second the motion to have you, Alan McFeeters, be the temporary chair for this meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for temporary chair? Now, just for those of you who are not familiar, we go through this process, a little bit of ritual. So I'll ask this 3 times. That was number 1. Are there any other nominations for temporary chair of the organizational meeting? Are there any other nominations for temporary chair of the organizational meeting? Having asked 3 times and received no further response, the nominations are closed. Sandy, I see you're still on yes. Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, it won't let me. I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
You can't undo your yes?
No, I cannot.
Well, that's going to be a problem when we get to some voting, but we'll
I'm going to figure it out.
I'm sure you will. All right. Having only 1 nomination, the chair will entertain a motion to accept this nomination by acclamation. So everybody who is willing to have me continue as the temporary chair, please vote yes. If not, vote no, I guess. I'll leave this open for another moment. Okay. All right, I see a lot of yeses. I don't see any no's. There's a handful of people who haven't voted, but certainly well, let me just count, just for everybody's benefit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 23 yeses. So I'm going to take that as a positive election. Thank you very much for your continued confidence. I am going to appoint as our temporary secretary, our outgoing secretary, so Dana Ledford, who I'm guessing has probably been taking notes already, because that's what she does. So everyone can lower your or turn off your yeses and we will proceed. All right. Now, this next section is going to be perhaps a little tedious, and I apologize for that, but we always like to go through all of the rules for the meeting. We're going to vote to adopt these rules at the end of this. So if you have questions about any of these slides as we go through it, feel free to raise your hand and I'll recognize you in turn. So slide number 1 here, this is the order of business, which we're actually about halfway through already. So hurrah. We have the call to order, an invocation, a pledge of allegiance, and roll call. We introduced the outgoing executive committee. We've elected a temporary chair and appointed a temporary secretary. We are now in the adoption of meeting rules section of the order of business. After we have adopted these meeting rules, then we will proceed to the election of officers. There will be a presentation by the nominating committee with their recommended slate of candidates, and then we will open nominations for each office in turn. Just so everybody is aware, by tradition, once the new chair has been elected, they will take over the meeting. And that's when my responsibilities for the meeting will end. Mr. Graham has his hand raised, so I'm going to ask you unmute and go ahead.
All right, can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, the only thing that I had a question about was whether or not the adoption of the meetings from the last committee meeting were up for adoption as well in this agenda. Because I don't think we ever adopted those minutes.
We don't adopt minutes in the organizational meeting. To be honest, I don't know at what point those minutes would be adopted, but well over half of the people in this meeting who are participants in this meeting weren't at that meeting, so it would be difficult for them to participate. My guess is that the incoming chair will be able to adopt those minutes at the first regular central committee meeting of the new term.
Okay, so it potentially it's just a formality that we missed from the outgoing committee.
Yeah, I'm not aware that we've ever adopted minutes from the previous meeting at an organizational meeting. Sandy, since you've got some experience with that, do you want to weigh in? Let me go ahead and ask you to unmute.
If an organizational meeting is strictly by statute for the organization of a new body. So the rules, the minutes of the last meeting are never done at this meeting to the best of my recollection.
Yeah. Certainly it would be worthwhile asking whoever the new chair might be if they want to add that to the agenda for the first regular central committee meeting of the new term.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Okay, so, but a fine question nonetheless. All right, so I think we were at the election of officers. We'll have the presentation by the nominating committee. We'll elect each person, each office in turn. Once the new chair is elected, they will take over and run the remainder of the meeting. And then we have a section for adoption of bylaws, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, and then we will adjourn. Does anyone else have questions about the order of business? Raise your hand now. Seeing none, we'll proceed to the next page. General rules. A lot of this is going to be kind of, some of this is going to cover things that we've already really done, but it's all in the rules anyway, so we'll talk about them in turn. Voting members of the committee, the duly elected precinct committee officers from the August 2020 election. So these would be people who filed for PCO in May. They were elected in August. If you were the only person who filed in your precinct, you didn't appear on a ballot, you were just automatically elected. I know we had several contested elections in the for precincts in this term. So those of you who are here are the ones who won your election. We do not permit proxies in this meeting. The meeting is being held by Zoom web conference. All of you have registered for the web conference in advance. Only voting members, persons with business before the committee, that is candidates for office who are not members, which would be you, Morgan Cooper, and volunteers assisting in the function of the meeting, which would be Anton, are admitted to the conference. Any questions about this before we go on? No, pretty straightforward. Okay. Next, the meeting will be live streamed via YouTube or Facebook Live or both. I admit to some technical ignorance here, so I'm only streaming this via YouTube. We put an announcement on Facebook that the meeting would be live streamed, and I think it got shared out to a lot of the usual places, and people subscribe to the channel. And just so we know, it looks like, I'll just drag this window down here. Here's the party's YouTube channel, and this says that there are 5 people watching the meeting. So those of you who are watching by YouTube, hi, welcome, thanks for coming. Okay, so all persons participating in the web conference shall have their identities verified by the Credentials Committee, and their screen name shall be edited to reflect their status, PCO or guest. Actually, in lieu of PCO, we put your precinct numbers here, and then volunteer, and I think for Morgan, we do have guest, so that's fine. All participants shall be muted by the chair until recognized. Attendees shall not have the ability to unmute themselves. We kind of talked about that already. So before we move on to the next page, does anyone have questions about what we've seen on this page of the rules? Okay. Seeing none, we'll continue. Voting. A candidate for elected officer must receive a majority vote to be elected. This means 50% plus 1 vote is necessary for election. Voting will continue until all 4 offices, chair, vice chair, state committeeman, and state committee woman, have been elected. And while it doesn't explicitly say this in the rules, just for the edification of the committee, the treasurer and secretary are positions appointed by the chair. I believe the bylaws say with the concurrence of the executive board, which would be the other elected officers. So we're only electing those 4 positions today. Floor votes. Votes not requiring a secret ballot, that is all votes except votes for elected officers, shall be considered floor votes. That means adopting these rules, anything we do with the bylaws, anything else. The chair shall determine the method for casting these votes, which may be by using the raise hands function, the yes and no buttons, or other polling functionality. Only voting members shall be permitted to vote. Generally speaking, I like to use yes and no if it's a binary choice like that. Otherwise, we'll go through and use raise hands if there are multiple options for the question at hand. Secret ballot votes, that is votes requiring a secret ballot for elective offices, shall be cast using quick vote. And that's why we have Anton here. And I believe everyone here has been checked out and is connected to quick vote. So we had some problems with that during the county convention, and I wanted to make sure we got it taken care of. And that's why I asked Anton to be here. I see Fred Wilmot has arrived, so I'm going to go ahead and admit him. And we'll just take a moment here to make sure that Fred has his connection to Quick Vote. So Fred, where'd you go? There you go. Fred, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hi, Fred. Welcome. Glad you were able to make it.
During the county convention, and I wanted to make sure we got it taken care of. And that's why I asked Anton to be here.
Okay. Fred, I think you should mute your YouTube of the live stream in the background. And then, so go ahead and say something so we can hear your audio.
Has his connection.
I've been following on YouTube before I
Fred, I'm
found the
going to
right.
ask you to unmute.
Okay, great. Were you able to connect to Quick Vote?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and remute you, and we will consider you as being in attendance. So thank you. Glad you were able to make it. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. So good. I always like to have as many people in these meetings as we possibly can. I'm going to go back and edit the roll call page to reflect that Fred is here. Okay, and we'll continue. Okay. So ballots. Links to a secure website for balloting shall be sent to each voting member prior to voting. Ballots shall contain the name of all nominated candidates. The candidates shall be listed in alphabetical order if possible. I don't know if Anton can do that, but that's what we'll aim for. So I know we may have some nominations from the floor, and Anton is going to take care of those on the fly because he knows what he's doing and I do not. Okay, any questions on this page of the rules? Okay. Next, nominations. Candidates recommended by the nominating committee. The nominating committee, which we named in June and consisted of one member from each of the county commissioner districts in accordance with our bylaws. The nominating committee, the outgoing central committee, shall announce recommended candidates for each office. Those people are considered automatically nominated. And then we will open nominations. After the nominating committee's recommendation, the chair shall declare nominations open for each office in turn. Candidates recommended by the nominating committee may designate 2 voting members to speak on their behalf, the first being permitted 2 minutes to speak, and the second being permitted 1 minute to speak. Some of the candidates have indicated that they have someone lined up for that, and others have not. And that's fine. Nominations from the floor. The chair shall call for additional nominations for the office. Any voting member of the committee may nominate 1 candidate for an office. So if you wanted to nominate somebody for chair and for vice chair, you're able to do that, but you can't nominate 2 people for chair. The nomination must be seconded by another voting member of the committee. A voting member may second more than 1 nomination for an office. I'm not really sure why you want me to, or why you would want to do that, but that's totally within the rules. Any questions before we move on? Okay. Continued. Nominations. Nominating and seconding speeches. A member nominating a candidate for office shall be permitted 2 minutes to speak in favor of the nomination. A member seconding a nomination shall be permitted 1 minute to speak in favor of the nomination. After each nomination, the chair shall ask if there are any further nominations, just like we did with the election of the temporary chair. Upon making 3 such calls with no additional nominations, the chair shall declare the nominations for that office closed. Following the close of nominations, each candidate will be permitted 5 minutes to address the committee. Any questions on this page? This is pretty standard stuff, but a lot of you haven't been in this kind of a meeting before, so I want to make sure we went through it all. Balloting. Once the last candidate has spoken, balloting shall commence. If only 1 candidate is nominated for an office, the chair may accept a motion that the candidate be elected by acclamation, more or less like we did for the temporary chair. If such a motion is seconded, the chair may hold a vote on the motion asking for ayes or nays. Should such a motion fail, or if there are multiple candidates for the office, balloting shall be by secret ballot. Each member shall vote for only 1 choice on their ballot. Any questions about this? A majority is required for election. A candidate must receive a majority of the votes cast to be elected. If there are more than two candidates and no candidate receives a majority, the candidate with the lowest number of votes is eliminated and an additional ballot is cast. Should two candidates be tied for the lowest number of votes, a coin toss will determine which one is eliminated. I actually think that within Quick Vote, it has its own random number generator in lieu of a coin toss, but the basic premise is sound, that we'll do a random selection on that. Any questions about this part of the balloting? Okay. Voting shall take place as indicated in the order of business above, as adopted by the committee. There are no proxy votes. For secret ballot votes, members must be present in the web conference and use Quick Vote to vote. Okay. Questions on this page? Okay. Close to the end here. I think we got 2 more slides. Presiding officer after the election of the chair. Following the election of the chair for the central committee, the temporary chair shall pass the gavel to the newly elected chair, who shall preside over the remainder of the meeting. Should the newly elected chair be unable to preside over the meeting, the temporary chair shall retain the gavel until a subsequent officer is elected who may preside over the balance of the meeting. At the time that we wrote this, we were anticipating this being an in-person meeting with potentially some candidates who wouldn't be able to be present at the meeting. I don't anticipate that being an issue now that we're on Zoom and we're all here together. Finally, appointment of a permanent secretary. Once the new chair or some subsequently elected officer has taken the gavel, they may appoint a permanent secretary for the remainder of the meeting. Of course, you'd have the option of retaining Dana as the secretary for the remainder of the meeting, which might be more convenient. It's totally up to whoever takes the chair after me. So questions on this last page of the rules? Alex Bennett has a question. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm sorry, Alan. Like I tried to catch you as quickly as possible, but my rubber gloves wouldn't register the phone.
No worries.
Hey, real quick, I missed that a tiny little blurb there about the Quick Vote. Is it going to pop up on our phone, or do we have to go back to the email and go through that while we're trying to vote?
That's a great question. You will need to go back to that link and open up the web browser. It's not integrated into Zoom, so you'll need to.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I just had to clear that up.
No, that's a great question. I know this is something new that we're doing, so thank you for asking.
Thank you.
You bet. I see Ward Sparacio has a question. Ward, what's on your mind? Go ahead and unmute.
I just want to say for Alex's sake, Alex, if you're listening, you can have 2 windows open on your phone. You don't need to close out of the Zoom in order to go to Quick Vote, right? So she can have both of those open. Just to be aware of that, Alex, okay?
Yes. In fact, please don't pop out of the meeting, because then we have to bring you in, and it takes a little piece of time. So yeah, for everybody, if at all possible, don't drop out of the meeting. I know it happens sometimes, but try to avoid it if you can. So I see Anton has unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add, Anton?
That's right. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, I was just following up on those. If anyone has any questions about using Quick Vote, please feel free to raise your hand and ask any questions. I think we're going to be fairly gracious. Obviously, online voting is a new system for many of us, and some of you weren't at the county convention this last year. For all of you new PCOs, welcome. More than happy to provide help and support in this effort. So feel free. Well, I'm sure Alan or whoever the chair is at the moment, once we elect a new chairman, if they're going to be leading the meeting from there, we'll let you know when the vote opens and when the vote is closed. And you'll be able to see the results right on your screen once we close the election. So again, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help walk anybody through that.
Great. Thank you, Anton. Okay. So that is the end of the rules. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. There's a couple more pages here. So let's go through these and then we'll wrap up. Adoption of bylaws. The committee shall adopt bylaws for the new term. Proposed amendments to the last adopted bylaws should be sent via email to islandcountygop@gmail.com and received no later than 5 p.m. on December 2nd, 2020 to be considered by the committee. We set that deadline so that you'd all have a chance to see any proposals that came in and have some time to consider them. All proposed amendments received by this deadline will be sent via email to the members that evening. Should no proposed amendments be received by that time, the committee shall adopt the existing bylaws in their current state. So we did have one committee member send in some bylaws proposals, and those were sent out to everyone. I subsequently, they were kind of rough suggestions on things that might go into the bylaws, so I did the best I could to work them into an appropriate form for bylaws. We'll get to that at the time, at the end of the meeting, or at that appropriate point in the meeting, and then the new chair will lead us in consideration of each point one at a time. So those are the only 6 proposals that we had. So just so that you're all aware, this is sort of outside the rules here, but subsequent central committee meetings can certainly consider bylaws amendments at any time. There will be a bylaws committee. I think that Gary Ray was the chair of our bylaws committee in the past term, and he's indicated a willingness to serve in that capacity in the next term. Of course, that will be at the discretion of the incoming chair. And then those will be brought forward in subsequent meetings should there be any proposed amendments. Finally, the rules contained in Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised 12th edition, of which we have a copy right here, just in case anybody's concerned. Look at that. The camera can't see it, but I'm holding it up here. So we have that. Those shall govern in all cases where they're applicable and where they're not inconsistent with these rules, the bylaws as most recently adopted by the Central Committee, or the laws of the state of Washington. And that is the end of the list of the bylaws. So now we have the chair will entertain a motion to adopt those proposed rules as presented. So anybody who'd like to do that? Sandy, I see you're still yes. Is that still the yes from before? No? Okay, well then I will ask you to unmute and you can, did you have something you wanted to add, Sandy?
I have, no. I want to ask a question once this is on the floor.
Okay, all right, then we'll put you on hold for a minute here. And I see Tim Hazlow has his hand up. Where'd you go? I think I clicked the wrong. Let me find you, Tim. I know you're here. Okay. Tim, go ahead and unmute and tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, I was just going to make a motion to accept these rules as read and move forward with the meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Is there a second? I see Steve Thompson. Steve, go ahead.
I second that motion.
Great, thank you, Steve. All right, it has been moved and seconded that we adopt the proposed rules as presented. If there's any discussion, we'll start with Sandy Peterson.
Thank you, Chairman. I am wondering how the body feels. I'm a little uncomfortable with electing someone for this these office by coin toss. And I've seen it before where we just keep voting until someone does have the majority. And I would move to make a motion to delete the coin toss and just say we vote until we have a clear winner.
You know, now that you mention it, I actually thought that we had something else in the rules. In which case, let me point out B, because I think I kind of glossed over that. Let me go back to that section of the rules. Okay, so yeah, I read A and I didn't read B, so that's an important point. Thank you, Sandy. If we get to a point where there are 2 candidates remaining and the vote is tied, each candidate shall be permitted 1 minute to speak on their own behalf before another ballot is cast with those same 2 candidates. And should the candidates remain tied after that vote, at that point, a coin toss would determine a winner. So the premise here is we get down to 2 candidates and they're tied. And so we give them a chance to speak again and they're still tied. The presumption there is that nobody wanted to change their mind and switch sides. At that point, we have to break the tie in some way. So I don't know if that alleviates your concern, Sandy.
Well, I've been in a state meeting where we held 4 and 5 votes to elect someone when we could easily have done a coin toss, and I'm just not overly comfortable with the coin toss. So I would make an amendment that we vote, and I would make a motion that we vote until we have a clear winner.
Okay, so Sandy is, I get down to the right slide here. Here, no, here. Okay, so Sandy is proposing an amendment. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. Proposed amendment, good. Okay, so I move to amend the rules to read. And let me grab that piece of text here.
It's H, if that helps you find it.
I got it here. Thank you.
Okay.
So that one, this one. Oh, this is okay. Paste some stuff in here. We'll highlight this, put it in a color that you can read. There we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. We're going to strike this section. And then I might put this in a different color just so it's clear what we're doing. And we need to undo the strikeout.
It's a good thing you're doing this in the.
Okay. Is that?
That's fine.
Intent? Okay.
Thank you.
So, all right. So we have a proposed amendment to the motion on the floor. Is there a second? I see Gary Ray has his hand raised. So Gary, go ahead.
I will second Sandy's motion, but we want to make sure we do this. Do we do this? Can we do this without a friendly amendment and all going through all that? We can do this, vote on this now.
Well, this is a proposed amendment, so we'll vote on the amendment, and then we would return to the main motion, which would be amended. So actually,
makes sense to me.
You're right. I need to modify this just a little bit. I need to amend the motion in order to amend the rules to read. There we go. Okay. Thank you. That clarifies things. Thank you, Gary. All right. So it has been moved and seconded that we amend the motion as follows. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Raise your hand now. Seeing none, all in favor of amending the motion as you see on your screen, vote yes. All opposed, vote no. And we'll give you a minute to do that. Still see some people who haven't voted here. Kathy, you've got your hand raised. I'm going to read that as a yes. Unless you, oh, actually, I should probably ask you if you have something that you wanted to ask about that. Oh, don't click the wrong. Okay. So, Kathy, did you have something you wanted to ask about this motion? You can go ahead and unmute. There you go.
No, I just wanted to make sure that it was okay to use my hand on the participant screen.
If you have a yes, you should have a yes and a no at the bottom of the participant.
Correct. Okay, here we go.
You want to use yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I've got, I think everyone has voted. I'm not seeing a vote from Todd Perrick. But what I do see is 24 yeses and 3 nos. So we're going to consider the motion amended as, or the amendment has passed. I see Mary Jane Olson has a question. Let me find your audio participant and ask you to unmute. Go ahead, Mary Jane. And the rest of you can take down your yeses and nos. Mary Jane, did you have something you wanted to ask? Give you another minute to figure out the unmute on your phone. Okay. I'm not seeing Mary Jane is unmuting, so maybe she didn't have anything she needed to ask after all. So, all right. Then we'll go back to the main motion. I'm going to duplicate this slide and bring it down here, and we'll change this to accept the proposed rules as amended. There we go. So, trusting that you recall what the amendment is. I've got a few people who still have your yeses up. Go ahead and take those down. So we are at a point where we're discussing the main motion, which is to accept the proposed rules as amended. Is there any more discussion on the topic of this motion? Seeing some people shake their heads, which is fine. Okay. Alex Bennett, Anna Brugman, Kathy Cunningham, if you could clear the yeses from your screen, then we'll proceed to voting. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So all in favor of adopting the proposed rules as amended, please vote yes. All opposed, vote no. Got a bunch of yeses coming in. It's very exciting. It's possible I need to get out more. Okay, Greg Dalrymple, Fred Wilmot. I think you guys are the only ones that I don't see votes from yet, but what I can tell you is right now, we have 27 yeses and 0 nos, so the motion is passed. All right, next, so everyone go ahead and clear your yeses. And we will move to the election of officers. And we will begin with the report of the Nominating Committee. So the chair will recognize a representative of the Nominating Committee. I think that would be probably Mary Jane Olson. Mary Jane, if you can unmute, you can tell us about the report of the Nominating Committee. Mary Jane, are you able to unmute? Okay. I think perhaps I'll go to Alex Pfeiffer, who is also on the Nominating Committee. Alex, if you'd like to unmute and present the committee's report, that would be
okay.
Oh, Mary Jane,
can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Oh, okay. I can hear you now. All righty.
Great.
All righty. I'm prepared to give the report from the Nominating Committee.
Okay.
Our Nominating Committee, as you know, consisted of Alex Pfeiffer from Oak Harbor, Beth Munson from Camino Island, and myself from South Whidbey. And firstly, I would like to thank you, Alan, for your service to our party for the last 2 years. I know it's been difficult at times, but you persevered and you were absolutely a gentleman and a scholar. So it was a pleasure working with you, and I wish you every good luck in the future. And I do hope that you stay involved with us. And now with that, I will go to listing the names of the individuals that we found for each position. And I want you to know that our decisions were not based on selfish reasons for selfish reasons. However, our reason is that we want the best for our party. And these are the individuals that we found met our criteria. I want to also thank the ones who put their names in nomination and that we did not select. And I hope that they continue to stay involved with our party because everybody contributes something of worth and everyone is valuable to us. So for chairman, we chose Tim Hazelow. For vice chair, we chose Morgan Chu Cooper. For state committeeman, Gary Ray. And for state committeewoman, Beth Munson. Now, these individuals represent each commissioner district on our county. So Beth is from Camino, Gary is from Coopville, Tim Hazelow is Oak Harbor, and Morgan Cooper is from South Whidbey. So I hope that you would just go ahead and elect these individuals. However, I realize that we have a democratic process and I want it to go forward with the best intentions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Jane. All right, so we will now proceed to each office in turn, starting with the chair. So the nominating committee recommends Tim Hazelow, and Tim has opted to forego having anyone speak in the position of nominating or seconding speeches, which the chair appreciates in the interest of time. So nominations are now open for additional candidates for the office of chairman of the Island County Republican Party's Central Committee. If you'd like to nominate someone, please raise your hand. Are there any further nominations for the office of chair of the Island County Republican Party Central Committee? That's number 2. Third call, are there any other nominations for chair of the Island County Republican Party Central Committee? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. So do this. Closed. Okay. Now, so I believe that in our rules, let me just jump back up there and make sure I'm following the rules. If there is only one candidate, we can hear from the candidate, or we can just skip directly to the voting. Tim, do you want to say something, or would you rather just go right to the voting? Oh, actually, before you do that, I see Steve Thompson has his hand up. So Steve, go ahead.
No, just Alan, just reviewing the participant list. There are several yeses still out there on the internet, and
yep.
Either clear them or maybe they meant to raise hands. I'm just making sure that there's options for nominations.
I appreciate that, Steve. So I see Sandy Peterson still has a yes. Did you have somebody you wanted to nominate, Sandy? Okay, Sandy cleared hers, and I think the other one is gone. So looks like we are just with the one candidate, Tim Hazelow. So Tim, did you want to make a speech, or do you want to just go straight to the voting?
I'm fine with going straight to the voting. And I think did we not talk about if there was an unopposed seat, we can just do yays and nays?
That is correct. And so that's what we'll do.
Okay.
Having no further nominations and with only one candidate on the ballot, all in favor of Tim Hazelow as the next chair of the Island County Republican Party Central Committee, please vote yes. All opposed, vote no. Okay. I've got a couple more people who can vote. So I'm going to leave the balloting open for just another minute, and then we'll see what we've got here. Okay. I'm seeing a vote of 25 ayes and 1 no. So congratulations, Tim Hazelow, on your election as the next chair of the Island County Republican Party. Now, what we're going to do here, because our tradition is to immediately hand over the gavel, I'm just going to open up a little breakout room and confer with Tim for a moment about how he wants to proceed with the rest of the meeting. So for everyone else, if you would please just kind of take a couple minutes, this might be a good time to head for the restroom if you need, and we'll be back in just a few moments. So just see how to close all of the existing rooms. I want to, well, let me add a room here. Oh, I don't want to send all you people back to rooms. All right. I might screw up this user interface. And if so, you're all going to end up in the post-credentialing room, except for Anton and Sandy.
Hey, Alan, do you want to give me a call?
No, this will be easier.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to add a room and assign Tim to the room. There we go. Move 2, move 5, and I will join him there, and everybody else hang tight. Okay, and unmute Tim. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your new Island County Republican Party Central Committee Chair, Tim Hazlett. And Tim, you can unmute whenever you're ready.
There we go. All right. So, hey, everybody. Thank you for your support. You know, there's a few things that I just want to be real quick with. I don't want to take a bunch of time. I know this meeting is run long, and there's things that we can cover at later times. So first and foremost, I just want to say, hey, we have a unique opportunity here. There's 4 basic things in my mind that we need to concentrate on. One is bringing the party together. We need to work together as a team. I've been preaching teamwork for 10 months now, and so we need to do that. 2 is we need to grow this party. 3, we need to find and vet candidates that can actually win, and we need to run people in every single election. We need to find somebody for every election. If it's dog catcher, we need to find a person. And 4, we need to find a way to help support those people. And if that means more fundraising, more events, more getting out there to the people. So with that being said, I am going to keep my participants up. Alan is going to be the technical person. So if somebody has their hands up or ask questions, I'm going to recognize those people. Alan will unmute those people. We'll get the question out. We'll handle it, and we'll move forward. We're going to try and make it as painless as possible with the Zoom meeting, but you know how that goes. So I'd like to continue to move forward with this. Right now, I see Ward has his hand up. Ward, do you have something to say? The chair recognizes you.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. While you guys were away, we got a note from a couple of people that they got dropped off the Zoom. So, Alan, if you're running command here, can you just go back and look at the entry room and just make sure that there's those that are waiting to get back in can join?
Yes, I saw Justin Nichols there, and I have already brought him back to the meeting.
All right. So the next order of business is going to be, and I put my glasses on, so bear with me. You're going to see the screen in here. But the next order of business is going to be to elect a vice chair. And the nominating committee has nominated Morgan as the vice chair. So I would like to give Morgan, I think you have people that want to speak on your behalf, and you probably want to speak on your behalf. So I would encourage us to do that now. Who is going to speak on Morgan's behalf? Can you raise your hand, please? Richard McQuarrie. The chair recognizes Richard McQuarrie.
Actually, Mr. Chair, I believe that Ward Sparace was going to be the 2-minute speaker, and Richard was going to be the 1-minute speaker.
Very well. I did not know that. Go ahead, Ward. It's on you.
Okay, Ward, you should go ahead.
Yep. No, I'm unmuted. Thanks. Yeah, real quick. You know, I want to show my support and my endorsement for Morgan as the treasurer of this group for the past year and a half or so. I've seen very closely the amount of work and the effort that goes into being an executive member, certainly as a chair or the vice chair of this organization. I've gotten the pleasure of getting to know Morgan a little bit over the last couple of months, and I see her as someone with really good organizational talents, and I think she's really well equipped to be able to do this job. But I think more importantly, I'll address the elephant in the corner here. As a party, we've been somewhat fractured, and I think it's really important that the leadership that we have going forward has the ability to unite both incoming people and those that have been around and have some experience in this organization for a long time. And what I have seen with Morgan in her attitudes and in her behavior and in her mindset, she is a really, really good person to help lead that bridge building that we talk about between the different groups and some of the disagreements that we have. And I think she is going to be an excellent person to serve in a leadership role, to be able to unite all of us to make sure that we are kind of moving in the same direction. And then lastly, in the event that Tim is unable to continue in his role as the chairman, based again on some of the wonderful skills that Morgan has demonstrated and that I and others have seen. She would be an excellent person to be able to step in and take over that role. And this is a great opportunity to groom her and give her some exposure for that if that ever becomes necessary. So Morgan, I wish you the best in this election. I think you'll do a great job. I know you've got my support and the support of so many people in this meeting. So best of luck going forward here.
Thank you, Ward. I really appreciate it. And we'll move on to Richard McQuarrie. Go ahead, Richard McQuarrie. The chair recognizes you.
Thank you. Congratulations on your election, Tim. I have nothing but positive things to say about Morgan Cooper. She's done a fantastic job organizing events, working with our community to help elect Republicans. I think she would make a fantastic vice chair. Her organizational skills are incredible. And she's going to be a part of what we need. I mean, everybody hit the nail on the head. We need unity. She's going to help with party unity. So I'm so excited to support her, and I think she's going to do a fantastic job. And Ward, you're exactly right. If for some reason Tim Hazelow couldn't do the job, Morgan Cooper would be able to step up and do an amazing job as our chair. So Morgan, you've got my full endorsement. I'm so excited that you're running for vice chair, and I think you're going to do amazing things. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Richard. We're going to go ahead and recognize Morgan Cooper at this point in time to give her some time to speak. Alan, is that correct? Or are we going to take nominations first?
We would take nominations first, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I wasn't sure how we were going to do that. So with that being said then, Richard, do you have your hand up again, or did you just not put it down? There you go. Thank you. Hey, so with that being said, the chair would entertain nominations for vice chair. Now, remember, according to the rules, this has to be a female since there's a male as chairman. So that I'm open and ready to accept any nominations. So I'm calling for nominations for vice chair. Raise your hand if you have a nomination for vice chair. I don't see any according to how we do business. I'm going to ask one more time, actually two more times. Are there any nominations for vice chair of the Island County Republican Party? Please raise your hand. Once again, seeing no raised hands, I will ask for a third and final time. Are there any nominations from the floor for the Island County Republican Party vice chair? Seeing none, I am going to close the nominations for Island County Vice Chair. Congratulations, Morgan, for being the nomination for the chair, vice chair. What I would like to do is invite Morgan Cooper, if she wants to say a few words, and then we will do yays and nays as we did for the chair position. The chair recognizes Morgan Cooper.
Morgan, go ahead and unmute yourself and you're ready to go.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm honored, actually, so thank you. So I'm going to read this because otherwise, I'll probably get emotional. So, dear Chairman, nominating committee members, precinct committee officers, and of course, our Island County Republican Party members that are watching via YouTube. Just a short gloss over version for those of you who don't know me. I grew up a military brat. My father was very proud of his 26 years of service in the Air Force. We moved every 3 years, with some of that time spent overseas. I deeply respected him and my mom, and I grew up honoring the moral fiber that they instilled in my life. That factors into why I am unapologetically conservative. I love God and this beautiful country, I really do. We're blessed to live here. We're blessed even more to live in Island County and these beautiful islands up in the Northwest. But along with that, my faith is my life's foundation. I am pro-life. It's the only thing I've ever really truly marched for in Olympia years ago. It was a pro-life rally. I'm pro-military and I'm very pro-family. I moved to the Northwest 47 years ago and I consider it my home. I have 2 children and 3 incredible grandkids. They are the cherry on the top of this life I live. I ride a Harley motorcycle, a Softail Deluxe named Pearl, and I'm happy to say that my hat collection of jobs and skills is still growing. I never thought in my lifetime that to stand holding our American flag on a street corner would garner cussing, thumbs down, hollering out the window, rolling up the window, and the good old middle finger salute. But here we are. And it's time that we stand against the moral decay of the country. We're at a really pivotal point. So I'm taking this very seriously. We must be a source of light. People are losing their way because our voice went missing. Simple as that. But we have important things to say, ideals to live, work to do, and together we will make a difference. I have considered for quite some time in joining the efforts of the Island County Republican Party, and I officially joined a couple of months ago. Quite a few of you know that I'm a doer, I'm an organizer, a motivator, and I do show up. I have worked on 3 campaigns in the past 3 years, established rallies to support America, our candidates, our sheriff and police, and our military, specifically NAS Whidbey, as I maintain the Save NAS Whidbey Facebook page. I have been politically involved in my community for a few years now, and I believe I'm ready to serve my fellow Island County Republicans in the vice chair position. I will support the chairman and all of you, 110%. I will serve, I will lead by example. I will look for and encourage others. I will look for the good in all of us and use my energy to build this party. Building bridges is my job in a way, and we have a lot of bridges to build. I will support and provide transparent, inclusive, positive leadership. And I'm excited about all the phenomenal things that we are gonna do together. We are living in critical times that require strong leadership for the road ahead. My entire career has been to bring people to the table, strengthen efforts, streamline processes, and provide clear direction for that journey. I will use these lifelong skills to serve and support all of you. And so in closing, I want to thank you for your consideration of my desire to serve my community by doing all I can to grow and support the Island County Republican Party in the vice chair position. And I don't have to say I would appreciate your vote. I will say I appreciate your vote. And I thank you for giving me a new hat to wear.
Thank you, Morgan. That's great. And those are the words that we need to hear. So with that said, given that there's only one nominee for vice chair, the chair will entertain a motion to elect Ms. Cooper by acclamation. I'll be looking for a raised hand. Seth Miller, the chair recognizes Seth.
I move to nominate Morgan as vice chair.
Okay, so the motion to nominate Morgan, or to vote on Morgan's nomination, is that what I hear? The motion to vote on Morgan's nomination? Okay.
I'm motion that, yes.
Yep. So the motion to vote on Morgan's nomination for vice chair has been proposed, and Richard McQuarrie has his hand up. I recognize Richard McQuarrie.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I second the nomination, or second the vote.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any discussion? Raise hands for discussion. Richard, your hand is still up. There you go. Thank you. With no discussion, I would like to take one quick second here and remind people to take their yeses down if they have them up. That would be Greg and I think Mary Jane. Thank you. With that being said, we will do this via yays and nays as we did previously. All in favor of Morgan Cooper being our great vice chair, please say yes. And all opposed, please say no. Alan, you have an up arrow next to your name rather than a vote.
Oh, so that indicates I'm screen sharing.
Okay.
So used to not voting on these things.
Thank you. Anton's not a voting member. Benny Weber, I don't see something there. That's fine. There's a few out there. It looks like there are 25 yeses, 0 no's, and I am going to call the others abstained at this point in time. And we're going to say that the election is complete, and congratulations, Morgan Cooper, for being the new vice chair of the Island County Republican Party. Okay, we need to keep this moving. So please take down your yeses. Let me pull my notes back up real quick. The next thing we'll be voting on is going to be the state committeeman. Gary Ray had been recommended by the nominating committee. With that being said, I will entertain, or the chair will entertain, the 2 people. Alan, did you get an email from Gary saying that he had 2 people to speak on his behalf?
Yes, sir, I did. Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
So we will go ahead and entertain those 2 people. Who was Sandy, the 2-minute?
Yes.
Okay, so the chair will recognize Sandy Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to both you and to Morgan. I'm really looking forward to the next couple of years. At this time, I would like to speak on behalf of Gary Ray's candidacy for state committeeman from Island County. Let's go ahead and get the one thing that's on everybody's mind out in the open. Gary did not endorse a candidate for commissioner along what some might call party lines in this last commissioner's election. Okay, but you know what? Neither did about half of the rest of the people on this call in a different commissioner's race. So I guess what we should do is celebrate that we have a lot of people who are independent thinkers and not hold that against him. One thing I know about Gary is you always know where he stands, and he will always get his point across in a very gentlemanly and fair-minded way. Like many of you, well, like all of us, Gary cares about Republican and conservative causes. He shows this in part with his work for affordable housing. He, as you probably know, is the current chairman of the Habitat for Humanity here in Island County. And he is the incoming treasurer for the Washington Builders Association and is working his way through the chairs, and we expect him to be the president in 2023. It's a pretty lofty position for him to seek to serve others. He also works in Island County for Hearts and Hammers, which helps people make repairs to their homes that could not otherwise afford it. He serves as a conservative side board member, along with me at Civility First, so we can work together, and has been a candidate in his own right on more than one occasion. I've had the opportunity to work with PCO Ray as members of the Island County Central Committee for the better part of a decade. He has served as committee chair on more than one occasion for different committees. He understands the inner workings of this body. And I think that that is very important since right now, at least, we have 50% of the incoming executive board that does not understand the process. He is a master at parliamentary procedure, as you saw just a little bit earlier today. He is well known and well liked by members of other people in the other parties in our state. And he is more than capable of making sure that Island County's voice is heard at the state level. He's a clear communicator. He's capable of bringing good reports back to Island County. And I would encourage my fellow PCOs to cast their vote today for Gary Ray for state committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I will be looking here to see who has who was the second person, Alan? I'm not seeing a hand.
It's Beth Munson.
Okay, well, let's recognize Beth Munson. Beth, the chair recognizes you to speak on Gary's behalf.
Yeah, I would like to talk on behalf of Gary Ray. I have known Gary for 10 years. I met him when I joined the Island County Republican Party. But Gary has been a vet. He's a vet, a lifelong GOP supporter. He attended his first Washington State convention in 1972 as a delegate. He served as an alternate in both 2012 and 2016. And he also served on the 2020 Platform Committee for the Washington State Republican Party. He is involved. He shows up. He takes on difficult tasks like chairing the Bylaws Committee of the Island County Republican Party, which is no easy task. I find him to be a very kind, inspiring, and reliable member of the party and of the Washington State Republican Party, which he has been involved with as well, and I support Gary Ray.
All right, that sounds good. Let's move on. So we now have Gary Ray, and he has had people speak on his behalf. We'll check with the floor to see if there's any more nominations. Give me 1 second. So we're going to open up the floor for nominations from the floor for the position of state committeeman. So with that being said, the chair will entertain nominations from the floor for state committeeman. Stina. I recognize Stina Wenzik.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yes, I would like to nominate Richard McCrory for Island County Republican State Committeeman. I believe that he would be an excellent candidate for this position. He has proved his commitment to the party as he worked on the Matt Larkin campaign as the chief field coordinator. He has been an active PCO with 100% attendance in the months that he's been activated. He's a very clear and concise communicator. He's a great advocate for unity, and he has proven that. He's proven to take action. He was the main negotiator between the Freed and Culp campaigns to unite the party on a united ticket for governor and lieutenant governor. He has deeply studied and has a firm grasp on the Roberts Rule of Order. He's been pushing the party for unity since he arrived, and I believe that he's proven his commitment and knowledge and would be a vital addition to the Island County Republican Party. So I would encourage all of you to vote for Richard McCrory.
Thank you, Stina, for your nomination. Is there a second for Richard McCrory? With that being said, I see a couple of hands. I'm going to call on Seth Miller. I recognize Seth Miller. Chair recognizes you, Seth.
I second that nomination for Richard.
Thank you, Seth. And based on the rules that we had spoke about earlier, we have the option of 2 PCOs speaking on Richard's behalf.
Mr. Chair.
Sir.
So Stina did speak on Richard's behalf. She would be the nominating speaker. And then Mr. Miller could speak on his behalf for 1 minute, following our rules.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. That's what I was just about to say. I was going to say Stina had already spoken on Richard's behalf. So Seth, do you want to speak on Richard's behalf? I would
There we go.
There you
yes. I haven't known Richard long, but what I've seen about him, he's able to unite a lot of people. He's a hard worker, and he's able to reach communities that a lot of us can't reach. So I think he's an excellent choice for state committeeman for us. What I saw him do during this last election, well, he worked harder than a lot of people. And I think he's a good choice for us. And he can take this party forward to new places and to grow us to bigger audiences, I guess.
Okay, well, that sounds encouraging. I appreciate your input. With that said, we've had a first and a second, and we've had people speak on Richard's behalf. So let's go ahead, and we are going to say that Richard is officially nominated to run for state committeeman of the Island County Republican Party. With that being said, the chair will ask 2 more times, this being one of them, is there any other nominations for state committeeman of the Island County Republican Party? Please raise your hand. Seth, I see you still have your check mark up, so please take that down if you would. Seeing no hands raised, I will ask one more time, are there any nominations from the floor for state committeeman of the Island County Republican Party? Please raise your hand. Okay, with no hands being raised, we will close the nominations for state committeeman. Our 2 nominations are Gary Ray and Richard McQuarrie. So the chair will recognize Gary Ray for 5 minutes to speak on his behalf. Gary, you have the floor.
All right. I want to thank Sandy and Beth for their kind words. It's kind of hard for me to hear, accept those kinds of things. And also the nominating committee for putting my name forward as state committeeman for Island counties. I'm kind of out of my comfort level. I'm generally not one that gets into the lead of things, but this is an important job to do. I'm very excited by the new people that have shown up and they're working hard for the party. The young Republicans with Richard and Corbin getting that going. The Turning Point group over in Stanwood, Camino with Matt Martin and his group over there. I know they had some struggles with their event they put together. And when I heard about that, financially, I paid for that event, but made sure they understood they needed to raise money. They went out and did a phenomenal job of raising the money so they have money to keep going. A little of my history, I'm a lifelong Republican. As Beth pointed out, I was a delegate to the 1972 Republican State Convention. I was 18 years old. That was the first year we could vote. After that, I spent 6 years in the Navy. I enlisted in the Navy in 1972. I qualified on 3 different reactors. I'm a qualified reactor operator in the Navy is what I did, my job. And when I left, I was in control of the reactor control division. After getting out of the Navy, I'm a carpenter by trade. That's what I've done. Started a business. I've had employees. been through all the different things of being a business owner. In my volunteer life, as Sandy covered, Habitat for Humanity, Civility First, Builders Association, Hearts and Hammers. And as Beth covered, I've been involved with the Outgoing County Republican Party for about a decade, and I do the work. I'm one of those that gets involved, does the work, and when asked. I also served on Senator Barbara Bailey's kitchen cabinet when we first elected her to the Senate. Things that I've done in my life that I've been awarded for, and I get awards occasionally. The couple awards that are very special to me is, and these awards both are given for having done the work. I was in 2018 was given the President's Award from the BIAW, the Builders Industry Association of Washington. And that's the president gives that to the person that they feel steps up to the plate when asked to do stuff. The other award I got a medallion from the Wounded Warriors in Action for my assistance in helping build a cabin up at Rockport at Stillwater Camp. It's a place for wounded warriors that actually have been awarded the Purple Heart to go hunt, fish, and there's John Koenig, he's a retired SEAL, runs the camp, and it's a place for our warriors to go and recover from the things they struggle with in life. I'm very proud of having gotten that. Let's talk about what the state committeeman's job does, because a lot of the people on this call are new and don't really, haven't been involved. So the state committeeman is the person that's the go-between between the state party and the local party to bring ideas from the local to the state and back and forth, and brings reports and that back and forth. That's what the job is. You need to know what you're doing, and you need to have the connections to do the best of that job. I am very concerned about the divide that we have had in the party. We need to get that healed. We've got some important elections coming up. We have to find a replacement for Janet, District 3 County Commissioner. We need a replacement for Greg Banks at Prosecuting Attorney. And we need to retain Republicans in the elected offices at the county. So I'm somebody who unites people, brings people together, and gets things done that way. I would appreciate your vote for state committeeman at Island County Republican Party, and thank you for your listening and your time.
All right, thank you, Gary. With that being said, we are going to recognize Richard McQuarrie. Richard, Alan will unmute you and you can talk to us for 5 minutes, please.
All righty, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All righty, thank you so much. I'm so honored, Stina and Seth, thank you so much for nominating me. I'm excited about the opportunity to be your state committee man. A little bit about me. I'm also a veteran, served in the United States Navy like our chair and Gary. I have been working very hard lately on making sure that this party can win elections. In our recent election, I worked as the chief field coordinator for Matt Larkin, and we were able to get him the nomination for the Republican Party. Additionally, I was at the Washington State Convention. I was honored to be one of the Island County delegates. I've been a PC now for about 8 months with perfect attendance to all of our meetings. I'm so excited to bring a little bit of energy to not only the Island County Republican Party, but also to the Washington State Republican Party. And everyone has mentioned it. We have a little bit of a divide here in Island County, but it's not just in Island County. We also have a divide on the state level. I think I proved my ability to unify people from different groups inside the Republican Party. There was a time, I think most of us remember, we had a really bitter primary between Joshua Freed and Lauren Culp, which happens. You know, we're all passionate about these elections. We had a bitter primary, and there was a major divide. The Washington State Republican Party wasn't able to bridge that divide, so I did it. I ended up, through Matt Larkin, getting a hold of Joshua Freed, talked to him about the importance of being able to unite behind Lauren Culp as our governor and for him as lieutenant governor. I then was able to get a hold of Chris Gergen, the Culp campaign manager, and I was able to, after 3 days of negotiation, get them to come to the table and agree on a ticket. And that helped with party unity. Additionally, I was out there campaigning for votes. I gave speeches for Matt Larkin on several Culp events. And I was also out there on the ground here in Camino, bringing back to life some of the ballots that were not approved after the election to make sure that we could get Ron Mazzal and Greg Gilday over the top. And I'm so happy we did. Not going to take too long, but I love this party. I love what I'm doing. And I want you to know that if I am elected as your state committee man, I'm going to make sure that there are accurate reports. I'm going to make sure you know what's going on the state level. And I'm going to make sure that everyone is fully apprised of what it is that I'm doing as your state committee man for the state level, and that I have your approval to do it, or at least your input. So I thank you so much for the nominations. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
All right. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you guys both being quick on your speeches. That's awesome. With that said, let me pull my notes back up. So we've had our nominations. We've discussed our nominations. I would ask Anton, were you able to add Richard McQuarrie to the quick vote roster?
We were, yep, and we are ready to go as soon as you open voting.
Okay, with that said, once again, we are going to be voting on the state committeeman. That vote is going to be between Gary Ray and Richard McQuarrie. And the person with the most votes, as long as it's a majority, which you would think it would almost have to be, right? Will get the position. So with that said, Anton, let's go ahead and open up the quick vote. Everybody remembers it's in a separate window. Do not close your Zoom meeting, because you will have to be logged back in, and it will add time to the process, and you probably won't be able to participate. So good luck, you two, and let's see how it falls out.
I think Cunningham would like to be recognized.
Sure, let me get back in there. I was going to go vote real quick. Kathy Cunningham, chair recognizes you.
Thank you. I just need somebody to make sure I'm not bumped off this. My quick vote is behind this screen. So what exactly do I hit to bring up my quick vote?
If you just switch windows from Zoom to your browser, that should be fine. You just want to make sure you don't close Zoom.
Well, I'm not sure how to do that. I don't want to leave.
Okay. Are you on a Windows
Yes.
computer? You should, in your taskbar down at the bottom of the screen, have little indicators for your browser and for Zoom. You should be able to click on one of those there.
I don't know if I can.
It's possible that you're in full screen mode in Zoom.
Yes.
Okay, so I believe if you let me get into full screen mode myself.
Alan, if you're in full Windows mode, you can hit the escape key.
Yes, that's correct. You should be able to press your escape key to take your Zoom meeting out of full screen.
And then you can use the window or the little blocks up in the upper right-hand corner to reduce, not close.
Or just click on the icon on your taskbar to switch over to your browser.
That as well.
I'm having a hard time. Oh, exit full screen.
There you go.
Okay.
Now, since this is a secret vote and I don't have access to what's going on, I'm going to rely on Anton to let us know when the vote is complete, or we will give it 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm going to restart my clock. 5 minutes from now, or when the vote is complete. Anton, keep me informed, please.
That's right. It looks like so far we have, give me 1 second to review the ballots. It looks like we have 23 total ballots in so far. So we are just waiting on a handful of people to submit their ballots. Yeah. So yeah. Yep. And again, if anyone has any questions, if you're unable to vote or run into any issues like Kathy did, feel free to raise your hand. I'm more than happy to help troubleshoot.
Sounds good. Sandy Peterson, you raised your hand. The chair recognizes Sandy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anton, I was helping Benny vote, the process of the vote, and she clicked on the person that she wanted to vote. It went blank. So she clicked on it again, but there was never a, and it says that she has voted. But it was never, there was never that prompt of, are you sure you want to submit? Is that still okay? Can you see her vote? Can she get a second chance at that?
Let me check here so I can double check to see if her ballot was submitted. I cannot see. And we are talking about Billy, correct?
No, Benny, B-N-Y-E Weber.
Oh, Benny Weber. Okay. Yes, I can see that she did vote. Unfortunately, I am not allowed to see who she voted for, as this obviously is a secret ballot.
But it go through. That's fine. As
Yeah,
long
as she selected the candidate she wanted to vote for, then yeah, it went through.
Okay, there was just, I didn't see the same prompt for her that I saw for me. So I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
That's right. It might be different on different browsers how it works with that. So, yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Anton. I appreciate it so much.
All right, thank you, Sandy. Jim Adsley, do you have a question?
Jim, you can go ahead and unmute.
I had a similar question. I just see names on the screen, no place to check either one. So
okay, Jim, let's take a look here. Okay, Jim, it is telling me you are offline, which is interesting. Are you want to go ahead and click back on your quick vote link?
well, I'd have to close out of either Zoom or this screen, quick vote screen.
So you can go ahead and minimize the Zoom screen for the moment and go ahead and just open up your tab for quick vote.
Yeah, I'm not really able to open anything other than just the general screen. I've lost the screen now that shows the two names.
Is there a refresh button?
Okay, so you are on the quick vote screen. Let's see here. Yeah, it's still telling me that you're not on the screen. That is very interesting. I did send you an email earlier. Go ahead and try going to that link if you can and re-clicking on that link. And if that doesn't work, I will create you a new access and get you a new ballot.
Now I'm back to the two screens now that but nothing that allows me to vote.
It's still telling me you have not opened that link yet. That is, well, it says you've opened the link, but that you're not currently on the link. That is very interesting. Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm going to go ahead and send you another link via email. Okay, Jim, I just sent that email, so let's give it a minute or so and that should show up. And then go ahead and try clicking on that one and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you everybody for your patience, by the way. And while we're waiting, I just want to give a big shout out to Alan and Tim for conducting such a well put together meeting. We've done quite a few of these reorgs so far, and this is hands down the best run meeting that I've been able to witness. So congratulations on hosting such a fantastic meeting.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, that worked.
Perfect. There we go.
Thank you.
No problem.
And Anton, we're past that 5 minutes, so once you see his vote come through, we'll go ahead and let me know. We'll close the voting.
Will do. Okay, Jim, did you hit the submit button on that vote?
Yes.
You did, okay. Perfect, I'll give it a second here to update. Okay, Tim, let me know when you are ready to close voting.
I'm ready to close the voting.
Perfect.
Jim, you can go ahead and put your hand down, please. That would be great. And Anton, considering I don't have access, I would appreciate it if you could read the results of the vote for us.
Not a problem. Okay. Voting is officially closed. Would you like the vote count or just a winner? How would you like to do that?
Well, actually, I can see it. It came up on my screen, so I can go ahead and read that.
Okay.
Vote. That would be fine. So congratulations to Richard McQuarrie. You garnered 65.3% of the vote, almost 66. So good job. We look forward to working with you. And Gary, thank you for running. That was a great run, and we appreciate all you do. And we hope that you continue to support the Island County Republican Party and give us your guidance and help us with your leadership moving forward. With that said, the vote is closed. Richard McQuarrie is the new Island County Republican Party State Committeeman. Congratulations. And we are going to move on to State Committee Woman. So please check your hands and your yeses and nos. I don't see anybody with their hands up currently, or yeses and nos. Now, Anton, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
So are these results as written? Should I snippet these results for the record?
Great question. Yeah, so you can snippet that. What I can also do is give you a Excel document that shows exactly who voted in and what races they voted in. You obviously have the final results, and then we can also produce the final results on an Excel sheet as well. So however you'd like that audit, more than happy to pass that along.
Yeah, I'm not interested in who voted for who, but I would like the percentages and the total vote count and the winner.
Oh, okay. Yep, you can go ahead and snippet that then.
I will do that. All right, thank you. Give me 1 second, everybody. Actually, we'll move on and then I'll snippet this in a second. So don't close that, please, Anton,
Okay.
until I get to that. So we're going to move on to State Committee Woman. The party nominating committee had nominated Beth Munson. So as we've done with the rest of the candidates, the nominees, we are going ahead and looking for somebody that wants to speak on Beth's behalf. We're looking for somebody to raise their hand and speak on Beth's behalf.
Mr. Chair, Beth Munson didn't send us the names of anybody that she was going to have speak on her behalf.
Okay.
If she has anyone, we can certainly recognize her and ask if you'd like to do that.
Actually, I would like to speak on Beth's behalf for a moment, if that's okay with you, with everybody. I've known Beth for a while now. She helped out with the campaign. She runs an office over on Camino Island, kind of isolated on her own. So we know that she knows how to do things. She's been the state committee woman. And I know she knows the job, and it would be good probably to have somebody who knows the job in the executive committee. And I'm in no way saying that we don't have great candidates out there. I'm sure we do, but Beth has done it. She's proven she can do the job. She can do the job well. And in my opinion, she is a bridge builder. She brings people together and she just gets things done. She's one after my own mindset. And that is get things done and ask permission later, right? If the resistance is there, we have to keep moving forward. So with that said, Beth Munson is a great candidate. And I just want people to know that she has done the job and she will do the job well if elected. With that said, we do have a hand raised. Jim, the chair recognizes Jim Adsley.
I just wanted to add that I've seen Beth working for many years on conservative movements, creating special meetings with speakers and really supporting this party, been a member of this party in Island County for a long time. I helped set up the office in Stanwood many times, and she's just been a dedicated worker. I'd recommend supporting her for the state committee woman.
Thank you. Jim, you go ahead and put your hand down. So we'll call that the two people that we're going to speak on Beth's behalf. What I would like to do, and what we will do, is we will open up the floor to nominations for state committee woman. So this will be the first call. If somebody wants to nominate for state committee woman, please raise their hand. Justin Nichols, you raised your hand. I would appreciate your input and your nomination. Chair recognizes Justin Nichols. Is he gonna? Is he
Sorry,
there?
There we go. I had to get control to get unmuted there. So thank you. You can hear me now, correct?
Yeah, we got you. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so I, Justin Nichols, would like to exercise a nomination from the floor for Stina Wenzik for the state committee woman. I consider it a privilege and an honor to speak on behalf of Stina for the ICRP committee woman position. Stina has been working with myself and others on campaigns, rallies, and events for the last several months with a very high level of commitment. It would be irresponsible to overlook her desire and qualifications to serve in this capacity based on her age or what some would see as inexperience. Her resume is certainly impressive. What I appreciate about her is her involvement in the community, her energy, her family values, her work ethic, and her sense of pride in our county and in the Constitution. It might surprise some of you to learn that she's a published author and quite accomplished at nonprofit startups, as well as a developed motivational speaker. I think all of those things would benefit us at the state level. Others have represented us in this position already, and I would say that what we need as a party is a revival of energy, new eyes and ears, and the ability to speak to our needs in Island County with a new passion. I'm confident that Stina Wenzik is the best choice for our state committee woman, and that today we should support her willingness to serve with our overwhelming approval for this position by our committee members. Please join me in your support for Stina Wenzik as our state committee woman. Thank you.
I thank you very much, Justin. I also see Greg. I can't pronounce that last name. Do I know Greg?
Yeah. Yeah, but I had Morgan give me some pointers on it too.
So if we could mute.
I didn't want to be on the camera though. I'm reading the damn thing.
If we could mute you, that would be great at this point in time, Justin. Greg, the chair recognizes Greg. I can't pronounce your last name, Greg. I'm going to say Greg D. Did you get that, Alan?
All right. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
All right. So first off, my name is Greg Dalrymple. It's spelled phonetically. If you take the Y and make it an I, it's not hard to see. I would like to second the nomination for Stina Wenzik. I would also like to take just a moment to speak to who I've gotten to know over close to 30 years. I went to school with Stina here in South Whidbey, graduated from South Whidbey High School, and have known her for a really long time. I've seen her be successful in not only helping her husband with their construction company, but being successful in working with the school that my kids go to, Island Christian Academy, and having her kids there and supporting that. And just being a really wonderful part of the community that works really hard for us. Like Justin said, Stina has been exceptionally motivated to work with the Republican Party and get us out there in front of people. And moving forward, I think that her age and where she is in life is a really big positive. She's a mother and comes at this from a completely different standpoint than most of the people that make up the Island County Republican Party. And I think that's a very valuable thing. So I'm honored to nominate Stina and looking forward to voting for her.
Great, Greg. Thank you. That was a great talk. So with that said, we are going to open the floor another time. Are there any nominations for Island County Republican Party State Committee Woman? Any further nominations? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any hands being raised. We are going to ask one more time so we can be extra sure that nobody has missed. Are there any further nominations for the position of State Committee Woman for the Island County Republican Party? Please raise your hand. With no more hands being raised, we will accept the nominations of Beth Munson and Stina Wenzik. Congratulations, you two, on being nominated for State Committee Woman. Anton, I went ahead and got the snippet I need, so you can reset the quick vote as needed.
Fantastic. Okay. We will
Let
go ahead
me know when you're ready.
Will do. I will need about, I'd say about 1 minute here.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to give the candidates an opportunity to speak?
Oh, yes. Yeah, actually, I do want to do that, don't I? So thank you for the reminder. With that being said, it's in my notes. I just kind of missed over that one. With that being said, we will recognize, the chair will recognize Beth Munson for 5 minutes. Beth, I'm going to go ahead and set my clock, but the chair recognizes you, and go ahead and let's hear from Beth.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you, Jim, for those kind words. For those of you that I haven't met yet, I am a 30-year Camino Island resident. I'm on the Island County Planning Commission, and I'm a commercial real estate appraiser. I got involved in politics really in a big way in 2009 with the Tea Party movement. I went to Washington, D.C. with that big Tea Party rally we had in September. And I joined the ICRP in 2010, served as vice chair of the party for the 2011 and 2012 period. I am the current Washington State Committee woman, and I am also the president of the Camino Island Women's Republican Club. I am the Camino Island Women's Republican Club always sponsors a fair booth at the Stanwood Camino Fair, and I'm the chair of that activity. We planned a joint GOP TPUSA booth for this summer, but of course they ended up canceling the fair. So we're going to try it again next year. I've been instrumental in helping the kids with the TPUSA chapter get organized. What I do during election season is I have, since 2012, had an office in Stanwood, a GOP office in Stanwood, and we opened on May 1st during the lockdown, and we never closed down. We started out 4 days a week, and by the end of this election cycle, we were open 7 days a week. I was involved on a daily basis, keeping supplies in there and making sure that the place was staffed. We sold a total of 380 Trump yard signs during the cycle, 280 on behalf of the party. Let's see. I attend the house church in Snohomish, which has remained open during all the lockdowns. And I've invited our pastor, DJ, to the women's luncheon, the Camino Island Republican Women's Luncheon next Tuesday, and he will speak on faith and freedom. So if anybody would like to attend that, let me know. I would appreciate your vote. Go Trump.
All right. Thank you, Beth. Good accomplishments there. Let's go ahead and hear from Stina now. Stina, the chair recognizes you.
My name is Stina Wenzik. I'm running for Republican State Committee woman. I'm a busy mom, a devout conservative, and a small business owner. I'm passionate about being part of a positive change for our community in the direction of conservative values. I live on the south end of Whidbey Island with my husband and my 2 little wild boys. We recently built our home here, and we have started a successful general contracting business on the south end. I'm a published author, and I have extensive experience public speaking and mentoring young women. I have started nonprofits in both Washington and Southern California, which require skills in fundraising, networking, and unifying groups of people toward one common goal. I am positive these specific skills will greatly assist me in carrying out the duties of a state committee woman. For example, these skills will enable me to effectively communicate and advocate for Island County at the state level. And I believe with my ability to network and draw people together, I will attract voters and volunteers to the party, as the state committee plays a key role in growing the local Republican city and town committees, recruiting candidates, and registering new voters within the district. I feel that I bring a unique perspective because I represent a growing demographic of young conservative families currently residing or moving to Island County. I realize that while some may see my age or experience as a detriment, I would argue that these are an advantage because I possess a strong will, fresh eyes, and invested interest to represent all of Island County. I'm intimately connected to this community. I've been a resident here for almost my entire life. In fact, my ancestors settled here in the 1800s, and my great-great-great-grandma was a preacher at the Little Brown Church. So my heart is deeply embedded and committed here for many reasons. Republicans believe that the proper role of government is to provide only those critical functions that cannot be performed by individuals or private organizations, and that the best government is that in which governs least. Republican leaders are need to ensure that our government upholds the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the rule of law. Republican leaders with integrity are needed to get behind law-abiding citizens who wish to live freely and peacefully while not infringing on the rights of others. I believe we are at a defining pivotal moment in the fight for the heart of this great nation. But I also know that the battle begins right here. I realized months ago that I cannot bear to simply sit on the sidelines and sit on my hands while my children's future is slipping away. I feel that it is time to utilize the skills and talents that God has given me to step out and serve the people and safeguard the truths that our forefathers established long ago. I have always believed that change begins first in our own backyard, and therefore I'm committed to doing everything I can at a local level to preserve, protect, and promote these foundational values. Moving forward, I will support efforts to increase transparency, participation, and effectiveness in order to serve the interests of Republicans in Island County. Know that I'm an advocate for unity. I hope to pull everyone together. I plan to bring a motivating energy to our party, and if you vote for me, I promise with my mama bear heart to fight for faith, freedom, and family for our community, and most importantly, for our children and our grandchildren's future. Thank you.
Thank you, Stina. Appreciate your work. So I'm going to bring my notes back up so I make sure I don't miss anything. Anton, are you reset?
We are fully reset and we can open the vote as soon as you are ready.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to reset my clock here. Okay, so Alan, we did have discussion. I'm just checking in to make sure that we're not missing anything. We did have discussion. We've had our speeches. I feel as if we're ready to move to the vote. Do you see any problem with that based on past experience?
No, Mr. Chairman, I think you're good to go ahead.
All right, so we are going to open up the voting. We're going to open up the voting for 5 minutes. So Anton, tell me that the voting's open and I'll press the button.
Voting is officially open.
There we go. And Anton, if you see that everybody has voted prior to the 5 minutes, you can let me know that as well.
Great. It looks like we just have 2 voting members that have not voted yet.
Alrighty. I'm not seeing any hands raised, so I don't think people are having problems. We've got about 3 minutes left. All right, we have 2 minutes left. Alan, is it appropriate to poke the non-voters, or is it not?
I'm not sure how you would poke them, Chair. I think you can just reach the end of the time and then close the voting.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. Anybody who hasn't voted by the end of the 5 minutes is probably not going to. I will say this, make sure that, once you've checked the candidate that you prefer, there is a submit vote button. Make sure you check that.
That's right. And then it also asks you to verify that you're submitting it. So it's like a double check.
Yep.
That is correct, by the way. Yep, just to verify that. And it looks like those two credentialed PCOs still have not submitted their ballots yet.
Okay.
But I do believe they have voted before. So, oh, there we go. We got one that just came in, and we're just waiting on one now.
Sounds good. We have about 30 seconds left. And the voting is now closed. Anton, you can go ahead and tally the votes, please.
Okay, voting is closed. And you should see those results on your page there, but let me know if you'd like me to announce those.
I am scrolling down to it. Nope, I see them. I've got them. So I would like to congratulate Stina Wenzik. She garnished approximately 75% of the vote. Thank you, Beth, for running. And I appreciate your service in the past. And as with Gary, I hope that we will continue to work hard together as a team and grow this party. And I know that your office out there, the Republican office in Stanwood, will continue to grow and support the party. So with that said, congratulations, Stina. And I'm going to keep that up for a second so I can snip it. So please don't take that down yet, Anton.
Actually,
and so with that being said, oh, he's got it up there for me. Look at that. With that being said, congratulations, Stina. We're going to move on to, since this is dragging on for a long time, we're going to move on to the bylaws. And I would like this to go relatively quick. So I'm going to take a second and be the chairman and say that we have these bylaws in place. We don't currently have a brand new bylaw committee. There has been a submission. So we're going to look at those real fast. And what I think is that we need to have a committee to look at these things and move forward with it. So with that said, I'm going to pull my notes up real quick.
Did you capture this image that you needed, Mr. Chairman?
I have, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, actually, hang on for a second. New. Yes, I have it. Thank you. Give me 1 second here to save it before I accidentally close it and then don't have it again, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to the bylaws. So since I'm a new chair, we need to look at these. We need to think about them. This could be a quick vote, which is what we're hoping for. What I propose is we're looking for somebody to go ahead and propose that we keep the bylaws as written currently moving forward. So make a motion to pass the bylaws as written. And we'll see how that pans out. Is there somebody there who wants to make that motion to keep the bylaws currently until we have a better understanding what's going on? Steve Thompson, please take the floor. Steve Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I motion that we or propose the motion that we adopt the bylaws as currently written and moving forward.
Very well, thank you. And I think Gary Ray has his hand up as well. Gary, go ahead.
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Gary. So with that being said, is there any discussion about maintaining the bylaws in their current form moving forward? Please raise your hand if you have a discussion. I am not seeing a discussion, which I appreciate. Thank you. We will tackle this in the near future. With that being said, we will do a yeas and nays vote on this. All in favor of adopting the current bylaws as written, please say yes. All opposed, say no.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Sure, the chair recognizes Alan for his point of order.
I'm not sure that the vice chair is aware of this, but having been elected and having passed all the elections, she is now, as a member of the executive board, eligible to vote on all the subsequent floor votes that we have in this meeting.
Why, thank you. I was just about to ask you that question. So, Morgan, feel free to check the appropriate box. We have a few abstentions. I'd like to close this out as soon as possible. So if you want to vote, please get in there and vote. We currently have enough votes to pass it, but I want to give everybody an opportunity. All right. We're going to close this voting. 24 yeses. I'll make that 25. A couple more people just popped in. And 0 no's. The motion carries. We will continue the bylaws moving forward. And we'll discuss at a future meeting how we want to proceed with that. Second thing I want to do is let me get back in. Our notes went to sleep on me. I want to whip through these proposed bylaw amendments. And we can do this in a relatively quick fashion. But we also have to give everybody the respect that they deserve as being elected PCOs. And so these were proposed, so we're going to talk about them as needed. So everybody, please take down your yes votes. And Alan, if you would go to the next slide, please. So the first proposal reads that the GOP will no longer require members to pay dues. This provision will allow the poor and homeless people to join the GOP, submitted by David Morrison. So we are going to have, well, I got to take my check down, don't I? We're going to talk about this. So I would entertain a motion to accept this proposal. Joseph Graham has his hands up. The chair recognizes Joseph Graham.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, this is Joe here. I'd like to make a motion that we do not accept any of the proposals to the current bylaws that were submitted to the previous chair.
Okay, that motion has been moved. Is there a second on that motion? Well, there's a couple. So let's go with Seth. Seth with the first one with the stand up. So Seth, we recognize you.
I second the motion to not recognize those.
All right, thank you. If you could take your hand down again, we are going to, so we have a motion and a second to, I'm assuming, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, table this to a future time. And so is there discussion based on that? And Joe, if I'm incorrect on what the motion was.
Yes, so this is not a motion to table. This is a motion to vote down all of the proposals. And that would simply be the motion as it was seconded on the floor. And then I believe we would have a subcommittee, the bylaw subcommittee would handle any changes to the bylaws in the future. So this is simply to just say, let's vote them all down right now and not go through the process of identifying them one by one.
And I actually kind of like that prospect. I just don't know, based on the rules, if we can vote on all 5 of them because they're separate proposals. Can we vote, Alan or Richard or Greg? What are your thoughts? You're muted, Alan.
Sandy Peterson may have some additional thoughts on this, but if you wanted to go to dispose of them completely, I suppose you could have a motion that would waive the rules.
I know it's a tough one. I mean, we could.
Yeah, I think probably the best way to be respectful to all the precinct committee officers, even the one proposing this, would be just introduce these motions and let them fail for want of a mover or a second. And that way we would get them out of the way. But if you wanted to handle them in one fell swoop, I think you could have a motion to waive the rules and to omit consideration of proposed bylaws changes. But I see there are some other people who have their hands raised and may have a different opinion on the parliamentary procedure in question.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear from Sandy. Sandy, the chair recognizes Sandy Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 things. Joseph said to not accept the bylaws that were sent to the previous chairman. They were really actually sent to the body. I don't know if you want that verbiage included in your motion or not, Joseph, but since you said that, I wanted to be kind of clear on that. And secondly, I think that if you don't get a motion or a second, then it just dies.
Correct.
So I think that from my perspective, and Gary Ray's equally as good a parliamentarian as I am, probably better, I would just assume that we will not get a motion or a second to you may entertain a motion, but if you don't get a motion or a second, it just dies in that.
It just dies. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and listen to a couple of more, or entertain a couple more comments. Richard McQuarrie, please. You have the floor.
Yeah, just want to make sure that we're doing everything in accordance with Robert's rules. And I'm going to be very open about where I'm at. I intend to vote. If it came to a vote, I would vote no on all of these. But in accordance with Robert's rules, this has been brought before the body. And we have to ask if there is, if someone would like to move it. And we have to ask if there is a second. If there isn't, Sandy Peterson is correct, it dies, but we have to ask.
Yep, and that's my understanding of the rules as well. I just want to make sure that we clarify this. Oh, well, the last person, I think it was Ward, just unhanded, so he must have been willing to say the same thing. So with all that being said, I would say that we have to go through these one by one according to the rules. So Joe, would you like to retract that motion, and then we can go through these one by one and see if we have motions to forward them? Would that be a good idea for you, Joe?
So the motion that I made was essentially to address them all instead of individually, corporately, and to vote them all down at once. So that is the motion that I made, and I believe it is still in accordance with the individual type of aspect that you're stating. It's just going to be a little bit more efficient, is my intent.
Right. In a normal situation, I would say, hey, let's get together and vote on this and be done with it. But according to the way the rules seem to be interpreted by the few people that have chimed in, my personal belief is that it would take us 3 to 5 minutes just to go through these things and be done. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. I think that my motion, which is currently on the floor, still is in accordance with the rules that we have that we're governed by. So if
so it's going to be a multiple vote
like
motion
to vote it down, I believe they have that option, but the motion is currently on the floor to bypass all of the proposals.
Yep, and it's been seconded, so we can
it is on the floor
with that motion. So the motion is to bypass the proposed amendments to the bylaws, voting them all. I think there's 5, correct? If I count it correctly.
It's 6, Mr. Chairman.
6. So voting on all 6 as a group. I would say that because the motion has been proposed and seconded, we need to take a vote on that. So are we willing to do that? That's the motion. So if we are willing to bypass proposing them all at one time and vote on them all as one, then please say yes.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Sir?
I don't think that bypass is a parliamentarily recognized concept.
Yeah.
If Mr. Graham is willing, let me propose an alternative. Waive the rules to skip consideration of all the proposed amendments to the bylaws presented to the committee. Would that be acceptable to you, Mr. Graham?
I guess my question would be, which rule do you think we need to waive? Is there a particular rule that states that the proposals must be addressed individually? Because I'm not aware of one.
Well,
if nobody in the body is aware of one, then there's no reason to amend. What I didn't say bypass, I said to vote them down.
Okay, well, so I'm not sure that voting them down is appropriate since they haven't been moved to the committee for a vote.
Well, they were brought before the body.
Yeah, as proposed motions on the behalf of a member, but they would have to have been moved and seconded before the body could vote on whether to accept them or not.
That's right. I mean, we could amend it to say to reject all the proposals.
Okay, this is the pertinent section of the proposed rules. It says they'll adopt bylaws for the new term. Proposed amendments should be sent by email and received no later than this date. Received will be sent via email to the members that evening. Should no proposed amendments be received by that time, the committee shall adopt the existing bylaws in their current state. We've already done that. I suppose that it's best to say that there is nothing specifically in the rules that addresses this. So actually, there is one particular other point that might be pertinent. No, in taking a look at the order of business, there's just a section on adoption of bylaws.
Right.
So I think that, I guess I would have to say that it's in the chair's discretion to say that we are just going to skip this portion of to not consider these bylaws. I don't know that a vote would be necessary for that. I'm sure somebody else will have an opinion on that matter.
I'm happy to defer the motion if it doesn't need to be amended, if the chair just wishes to dismiss the proposal. But if he wants to address them individually, then I would move that we dismiss them all corporately, which is what I did.
Okay, so yeah, so we could have done this in about a 3 to 5 minute period of time without all this extra discussion being said. Not trying to step on anybody's toes. I am okay with saying that we will skip these, but by skipping them, we can't vote them down because they were never proposed officially to begin with. By skipping them, what it's going to do is it's going to create an option for those to pop up again. If we propose them and there's no first or second, we're just in the discussion items here, guys. So if we put them out there and nobody first or seconds them, then they just disappear and we never have to think about them again. So as far as doing it as a group, I would be okay doing it as a group, all 5 of them, but we need to at least read them all 5 out loud, or I'm sorry, 6 out loud, so people know who they are. Once again, that's just a respect thing for PCOs, and I would expect that every PCO would want that same respect moving forward. So I am going to recognize Jim Adsley. His hand is up for comment.
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, okay. I have some questions about how this was submitted because we had a standing bylaws change committee, but I don't see how we can have any vote or any discussion without a second to this. So all of this discussion and dialogue we're having right now is inappropriate, in my opinion, because it's never been seconded.
Actually, it was seconded. Joseph Graham proposed it, and I did not write down, oh darn it, who the second was. Maybe the secretary can help me out with that.
I believe it was Mr. Miller.
Miller.
Yeah, Mr. Miller. Okay, so it was proposed and it was seconded. So all
right.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So if there's no further discussion, actually Joe has his hand up again. Joe, go ahead and let's have some more discussion on this, and then let's get this vote going.
Sorry.
Floor recognizes Joe Graham. His hand is up.
If you would like it to be more expedient, I'm fine to withdraw the motion. I think that we're trying to accomplish the same goal here. I don't know why we're making it more complicated. I was trying to make it simpler, so I will withdraw my motion.
I agree. Okay, Ward, the chair recognizes Ward, yeah. Ward, chair recognizes Ward.
I bumped my hand. I didn't mean to raise my hand. Sorry.
Oh man, you made me stumble your last name for all that. Thanks, Ward. All right, guys, here's what we're gonna do. Joe, so I'm taking that as you withdraw that motion. I am going to make note of that. Secretary, please make note of that. And we're gonna do this really quick. So proposal, the first proposal that was made for a change is, can you bring that back up for me, Alan, the first proposal? Central Committee may establish a non-voting jump. No, not that one.
Maybe not.
Maybe we lost it. Well, the first one was stated that we were no longer going to charge dues to become part of the party for various reasons. I'm looking for a motion to move that forward.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
So we had the proposal as it was written by Mr. Mirazon. It wasn't really actionable in a parliamentary sense, so I wordsmithed it into this particular motion, which is on the screen now.
Okay.
You are correct that if no one moves this motion, then it would die.
Okay, so let's move on this motion then. So the Central Committee may establish a non-voting general membership category in the ICRP for Republicans in Island County and determine their rights and privileges. No dues shall be charged to join the general membership category. Better wording. So I will entertain a motion to move this forward.
And Mr. Chair, it might be helpful if I explain. This is kind of a customary method for showing changes. The text that is in black is the bylaws as they currently stand. The text that is red and underlined is the new language. The text that is red and strucken out would be taken out of the bylaws.
Got you. So we're looking for a motion to establish no dues shall be charged to join the general membership category. We're going to give this 10 seconds. With nobody motioning, this is now a dead subject. Let's move on to number 2, please. Number 2, the GOP income will come from volunteer donations, once again submitted by David Morrison. I will entertain motions to accept that and move that forward. You guys can read on the screen what the current bylaw is and what the proposed change would be. The sole source of acquiring funding shall be voluntary donations. If anybody wants to make a motion on that, we'll leave that open for 10 seconds. With nobody making a motion, the proposal is now dead. Let's move on to the next one, please. Every GOP member will have a card used to vote. Okay, interesting one. Do you want to pull up the bylaw there, Alan? So you can see where the change would be. Each voting member would be an addition to, it looks like, rather than a replacement of. Is there anybody who wants to motion to move this forward? 10 seconds. Motion does not move forward. This motion is dead, or this proposal is dead. Let's move on to the next one. Proposal 4, GOP will advocate to improve the condition of poor people to offer minimum living income for foods, clothes, and housing. Once again, submitted by David Morrison. I don't know where that would fit into our bylaws, but I guess there it is, Alan, good find. So 10 seconds. I am going to entertain a motion to move this forward for the next 10 seconds. With no motion to move it forward, this proposal is now dead. Move on to 5, please. GOP will advocate to decriminalize any drugs used in the black market, submitted by David Morrison. I'm sorry, guys, not professional. I'll entertain a motion for the next 10 seconds on this one as well. With no motion being presented, the proposal is dead. Let's move on to the final one. Proposal 6, GOP will advocate to improve the conditions of working people and companies offering work to people, submitted by David Morrison. There is where it would fit in. 10 seconds, we'll entertain the motion for 10 seconds. And that motion did not carry. The proposal is now dead. At this point in time, I would like to congratulate everybody who has, hang on, let me pull my notes up really quick. I'd like to congratulate everybody who became a new PCO this year. That is huge. I can't tell you how excited I am for all the new PCOs. This is an amazing thing. We're going to do great things together. We've got lots of experience in the party that's going to help the new people out. And now we've got excitement, and it's just something that I'm looking really forward to. So that's for the PCOs. As far as the elected officials, wow, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. And I know Morgan and Stina and Richard all feel the same way. I know the people who ran against those folks all feel excited about moving forward into a new year and are willing to participate. So let's get this ball rolling, guys. And let's, I did want to say something that I read last night, and real quick. Progressivism is the conveyor belt that brings socialism into the United States. And it's up to us on the ground level. It's up to us on the ground level to fight that fight. It's like Stina said, for our children, for our grandchildren. And so we are that ground level, and we need to grow our base. We need to grow the amount of people who are going to fight with us and fight for the same values we have. And this is the beginning of that. And once again, I want to say how much I appreciate that. So with that being said, I don't see any other business. If anybody has anything that they really have to speak up to, we've been on here for a long time, feel free to raise your hands. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to end the meeting. With that being said, Alan, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Can we schedule the next meeting right now?
I actually was going to raise a point of inquiry as to whether you had decided on when you'd like to have these meetings occur. Traditionally, the party has met on the first Saturday of each month at 10 a.m. I believe that the reason for that is because we have people who are coming from fairly widely separated spaces. It's easier for most people to meet on Saturdays. I know it was an issue for Ms. Bennett. As to whether Saturdays would be appropriate, but you could at this time, if you'd like, entertain a motion to set the date for the first Saturday, or I don't know that it's necessarily something that has to be voted upon. You could just decide, or you could open it up for discussion about when you'd like to do that.
Okay, I would propose that we currently, in my opinion, we currently keep we tentatively schedule it for the first Saturday of January, pending. I want to get with Morgan and Stina and Richard to talk about if there's ideas for other days. And if somebody else has an idea for another day, feel free to email me. Alan and I are going to work on setting me up to accept the Island County Republican Party emails. So we'll do that over the next couple days, and we'll go from there. So we're going to tentatively say it's the first Saturday of next month, which, let me find my calendar, would be
January the 2nd.
January the 2nd. There you go. And if that is changed, we'll know in the next day or two, and I will make sure I reach out to everybody individually to make that change. Either Morgan or I will. With that said, Matt Hamblin, I recognize you. Please let us know what you're thinking.
So I had two ideas. One was due to holiday of the beginning of the year, I would propose that we would go for the second Saturday for the 9th of January for the meeting. And then I would move to adjourn.
Yeah, and I honestly would have no problem with the second Saturday. I want to establish a day, and then we'll revisit this. So
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and email me real quick, and you guys can use my until the ICRP email comes to me, you can use my timhazelow4congress@gmail.com. That everybody here probably already has that, to email me your thoughts. And then once again, the 4 voted officials will get together and we'll figure out if we want to amend that day or not moving forward. And I accept the motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second? Dan Evans.
I'll second that motion.
So the motion has been seconded. All in favor of adjournment, please check your yes block. All opposed, check no. real quick before I read the results, Mary Jane has her hand up. Mary Jane, can you please give us your input?
Mary Jane, you can go ahead and unmute if you'd like.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking maybe that was the issue. Okay, so we definitely have a majority of people voting to adjourn this meeting. With that being said, the motion to adjourn carries. Until further notice, we expect to see each other on the first Saturday of January, which is January 2nd. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for those of you who participated over the last 2 years. We can't thank you enough, and we look forward to your continued support and help moving forward. This meeting is